Good morning, everyone. Welcome to day 3. It's already day 3, Wednesday. And I love this day because if we reflect back, we've been bringing ourselves into new awareness, and then we've been stepping into that acceptance. And today it's coming into a conversation of choice, change, taking responsibility from the reflection of what that means when it comes to our peace, how we relate to peace when taking action, when noticing we're in inaction, and when it comes to our purposeful expression. There's a lot of things intertwined in this. And I know that by gathering here every single time, we can come into conversation that may have even been top of mind recently or a part of other conversations. But because we're in container together, many of us are going to be experiencing similar things. Good morning, Melinda. And I think it's all perfect because the brain has a mechanism for filtering, sorting, deleting constantly based off what we're focusing on, what we've made meaning to. And so if it wasn't top of mind before, but now we're bringing new awareness into it, there's a potentiality and possibility to activate new senses, new awarenesses all around us. And so what wasn't in our awareness before, maybe now is. And then we can bring it into our conscious awareness and make another conscious choice. It doesn't have to stay in the subconscious. And so, what we're doing through the 7 days together is understanding ourselves, understanding how we think, how we feel, how we take action, how we receive, how we hold ourselves accountable, all these beautiful biorhythms that are the natural rhythm of who we are. Not only collectively do we share this on a weekly basis, every week stays in the same kind of flow, but you have your own specific biorhythm based on the day that you were born. So for me, I think I mentioned I was born on a Monday. So I have the good grace and easefulness of following the collective. But that also means I get like double whammy the energies as I go through my weekly expression. And so if you're curious, good morning, everybody. Hello. If you're curious about knowing more of yours, this is where numerology can really come in to not just know these cool things about ourselves, but really identify where we're out of flow so we can get right back into alignment. We can come right back in like we've been doing all week long. And so I use an element of that in this conversation to see how we can use it in everyday life, because nothing really matters with all these beautiful tools if we don't know how to apply them to what we're going through, to identify how it can be helpful to keep us in an empowering choice, or to help us really feel our emotions until we're ready to shift them. So today's conversation is all about willingness. And if you're willing, I'm just going to make sure I can see everybody in the comments by finding you on my phone, making sure my volume is off. And then I can see, because sometimes if you're not signed into StreamYard, all I see is Facebook user. And so thank you for that. Carmen, see, I get to see that Carmen's here. And Margot, good morning, Margot. Hello, Melinda. Hello, Elaine. So thank you guys for taking time of your morning and being with me. So, okay, I wanted to update you just a little bit since we're on day 3 of 7. Oh my gosh, we're almost halfway. That's crazy. Um, and remind you, good morning, Darla, that we are having gifts and prizes, right? So it's holidays. Let's celebrate with gifts and giving and excitement and participation. And I know that many of you ladies have been here every single day, which is amazing. And there are many people watching the replay, and there are many people watching who haven't said hello or anything, and all of it's perfect, right? This is my gift to all of you. This is an experience that maybe you hadn't experienced of yourself before. And these are the things that always like light up my heart when I get to experience them as well, because I learned something new and I like to learn. I like to apply what I learn and see the results, see what changes, see what shifts, see the possibilities. So I will be announcing all of those winners on Sunday after our conversation together. And I'm tallying the points based off likes, comments, participation, homework, all the things, right? Sharing, even if you share or invite people into the group, let me know that you've invited them. So Yesterday, I rearranged a few posts and I put all of the homework posts underneath each of the calls. And so journal posting, some of the things we talked about in the conversation, I made a little post that went down below so you could come back. So I'm going to encourage you, if you've written things down in your journal and you want to share those, come back and share those underneath each of those call dates. And that will help to tally up even more points for you. And if you don't want to, you don't have to. But I just thought it'd be fun to add a little bit of fun to the challenge. Why not challenge ourselves and then have the gift or reward for your efforts, right? Why not? Okay, I digress. So here's what I did this morning in all transparency. I have run this 7 days before, but I'm going to go with, I'm a manifesting generator and I don't know a whole lot about it, but I know that we don't like to do things the same way. Twice. Well, I always want to change it up just a little bit, and I think that really fits who I am. Numerologically, I'm always creating. I'm always wanting to bring harmony to things, and I'm always very present with, where are we going through in the timeline of things. And so I have beautiful notes from before, but I do write new ones every single day. And I do it right before we get up. So I get up early, I come in here and I spend some time looking at the energy of the day, looking at the cards that I pulled, looking at different things, and then creating the notes from that point on. And then the funny thing, little trivia about me is it's my process. And so when I come in here, sometimes I'll use them and sometimes I'll just get off on a tangent and share something else that wanted to come through. And I just trust that all of it finds you as needed to be. So before we begin, just give me a 1. Let's be something different. Give me a 5 in the comments if you've been enjoying this process so far. If you've been having a good time listening in and bringing new awarenesses to yourself. That moment, I'm like, please be 5. Please be 5. I'm going to take a sip of coffee while you do that. And let's dive in. Today's energy for the day. Let's just talk about that. I talk about that a lot in here, and I'll come and pull cards. Thank you. Thank you, guys. That delayed response is like, oh, okay. I appreciate that. And I'm so glad because as we can bring in the conversation more, we can see more, we can feel more, we can accept ourselves more, we can love our extraordinary that much more. And that's the whole point. We are already whole. We can heal the separation. We can move through anything that feels like is limiting us when we can understand that it's just a decision or an adoption of some belief of someone else's or something that happened to us in the past. We can actually rewrite our story. We are the editor, the producer, the star. We're all the things. And we get to switch how we look at things constantly. We'll never be done doing that. You could share everything you've learned in here with your troops, your group, and it would still come through differently for you because you're always learning. You're always receiving. It's like the cells, these little minuscule waves and patterns are coming in and you're feeling it. Moment of like, oh my God, you're feeling it on a cellular level. It's coming through you in the cells. It's not necessarily information for the brain. So that's why I always say just feel into this and let yourself be with it. Type in the chat. You can always go back and make notes when you listen to the replays. And they're going to be up for a little while. I'm not going to take them down until the 31st of the year. So you'll have them here for reference to go back to, which is really fun. Okay, so today's energy, 5 and 5 of clubs. And I don't want you to focus on the 5 of clubs as much because we're not going to have a lesson in numerology, but I want to talk about the 5. And that energy today is really welcoming in change. The 5 welcomes change. And I want to talk about our relationship to change as it comes in with our peace in taking action or noticing our inaction towards our purposeful expression, right? How many of us feel when change comes in like there's a problem? Put a 1 in the comments if you ever feel like change is a problem, because we're really going to dive into our conversation on relationship to change today, specifically as we're in the Mars energy of taking action. So you will leave today with an assignment of taking action if you're willing. And we're going to have a conversation before that about willingness, change, our inner sanctuary, all these places that can feel safe. It's your first instinct, right? Who is this? Margot. Yeah. Carmen, you give me 3 5s. I love that. 3 5s is a 15, which ends up being a 6. Harmony. So change. Really, we're learning to accept our resistance, and we're learning to lean in just a bit more to the thing that we oftentimes fear or feel discomforting, because that's when we're at the edge. We're at the outside of the comfort zone. I'm thinking of a circle, like we're out here on the edge of the circle. And life isn't about creating a comfort zone. We do that normally, right? That's where it feels safe. That's where we feel protected. That's where we feel like we can handle the things. But you'll notice that life is always ebbing and flowing. There's always going to be a new round of something coming in. The last 3 years we had COVID. Years before that, we had economic downturn. Right now, we're going through war all over. And the chaos can be a lot to take if we take it all on. Today's conversation is welcoming in the change and knowing that the chaos will exist, that we don't have to participate in the chaos, that we actually get to choose what we want to change or if we're falling prey to chaos. It's an observing, it's a accepting, and it's a responsibility piece. And even though I'm feeling this way and I'm noticing all this chaos around me, I can still choose peace within. Right? The inner sanctuary. A lot of ones coming through. Thanks, guys. A lot of ones saying that I don't have to fear change. So even though when change comes up, you feel like, you know, oh God, here comes the change. I want you to think back for a minute. And you can even close your eyes as I say these words. And maybe look back like let's just go through this. There's a white screen, right? And change has occurred. Change is here now, perhaps. But I want you to close your eyes and look at your past soul choices. Whenever change was present, whenever you thought, oh, I'm not going to make it through this, or holy mackerel, I'm in so much fear. And I want you to be mindful of the positive actions, the compassion, and the understanding that have made your life better from that change. And from that making your life better helped make others' lives better. Yourself and others became better as a result of that change. And so on that whiteboard, maybe notice as those words are coming through, what is the image? What is the memory? What is the thing that popped into mind when you thought this was going to be hard, I can't make it, but then you actually did make it, and it probably turned out better than anything your mind had pre-decided for you. I'm going to give you just a minute to type that in because I'd really love to hear that from you. I can give you one example if you want an example. And I think we even touched on this. I don't exactly remember, but having a baby, if any of you have had children, or made it through school, testing, finals. Like, what was that reality for you in that moment back then? And even though there was some unknown to it, you were wholehearted in of getting this done. You're going to graduate, so you're going to take those finals, or you're going to have that baby. And so you're willing to go through whatever the changes were to get to the end result, right? And as you think back on that white screen, there is a lot of unknown. There was a lot of things you tried to prepare yourself for, but you didn't know in the end, and that you stood standing still. You still stood, you survived it. You still stood strong. So let me know. I warmed up my coffee, and so I'm going to be drinking coffee with you. Hopefully you have yours. Cheers, or tea. What was that event that came to your mind on that white screen? Could be anything. Melinda says, change seems challenging in the moment, but when I've gone forward and I did the thing, it's such a great feeling that I've accomplished the thing that I thought was hard or didn't know how to do it, right? It's so important to remember this. This is a very important part of today. I realize how powerful and capable I am of accomplishing anything I put my mind to and taking action. Yes. And so as you've written those words and as you hear them read to you now, and as you're in this experience, really feel into that, because the mind's just going to want to brush that off and go on to the next thing. Today's about celebrating the change, learning how you've overcome, the resilience you've had, the strength you've persevered, and really feeling into that. Who is this one? Sorry, I'm gonna have to look down, guys. Margot, when I lost my job of 20 years, I was amazed at the opportunities that came after. Yeah. I'm looking at my phone and all you see is like my scalp. That was really funny. Um, yes. Something that we think is like the worst thing, and that, oh my God, we're not going to survive it, can end up being the thing that frees our soul the most. Right? I know we have had plenty of example of that. My husband and I, our family, in 2013 had just finished up a 5-year fight with the banks. Back with that economic downturn, we had decided to let go of everything. We lost our big dream house. We lost all the toys and the tools and all the vacation time and all the things that we had started to build from working hard for so many years. We lost our incomes, and it was that moment of, this is literally starting over. And we were not young chickens, right? That was 10 years ago, so 45. And yet it was the best thing that could have ever happened to us. And I remember specifically letting go of trying to hold it and control it so tight, how free it felt. Even though there was change in the unwinding, we set ourselves free. And I think that's the key with change, is that through the change, there's also adventure and play and freedom. 5 is freedom. And so you might be experiencing today the freedom that you're wanting to experience, that you've been asking for, that you've been calling in. But it always comes through the rising of old patterns that no longer fit that freedom. And yet we resist like a banshee. Is that even a good thing to say? We resist it like we're swimming upstream, like we have to fight the fight. And what I've experienced is not only recognizing the resistance, we all know what the resistance feels like. We feel it in our body. It's like a frozen or a hell no or any of those examples. And yet, the only way out is through. And so, whether that's with support or by just realizing it's an old belief and you can rewrite it, or welcoming in the feelings that come along with that resistance, you make space for it in the body. You witness it, just like we were witnessing the worry, the anxiety, the overthinking, and we gave it space to say hi instead of running from it. And when we do that, we diffuse it. We really diffuse it. It doesn't take long. It opens up, and that wisdom wants to unfold from that. You'll be able to ask the body or ask the resistance, like, what is this? And where did I first feel this? And what is it costing me holding on to it when I'm really wanting to be over here? Where is it perpetuating a loop for me? And can I just love it? And I know, like, I heard this first time and someone was like, just love your anxiety. I'm like, are you freaking crazy? Like, I ran the heck away from that. But I learned later, oh, love it. Because it's showing me I have another choice. It's not here to harm me, drive me crazy, be a pain in the butt like we sometimes think our body is. The resistance we feel is the key code through what you want. The learning is how to navigate that emotionally, physically, with support, so you don't have to go it alone. Because if you knew how to do it, you'd do it by now. And if by bringing this to your awareness, you can recognize a change, you can rewrite that story right here, right now, with a new decision and commitment and willingness. So some of these things are just smaller layers. Some of these things are the root. And of course, I told you I would be making invitations towards the end of the week. The work that I do is helping you find the root and release it, so you're free to keep taking steps forward. You know what it feels like to be frozen in the body when you don't understand why you want the thing and you're doing all the things and you're working so hard, and yet you're stuck. It's in the body and it wants to be released. It doesn't have to be painful and terrible. You don't have to go back and reenact the past. You just have to recognize and allow space for that to move. And sometimes the best way to do that is with guidance. And the body and the mind know how to heal when we get out of the way. If you're willing and you journal and you write or you express or you talk about these things, you can move it too. So let me read some of your other responses. Melinda said, I just got chills listening to you read it, right? Because it's the truth. We're going to talk about the truth. I'm going to write that down. We're going to talk about the truth as well, because it's very important in the energy of this conversation, this week, this invitation through 7 days at 7 a.m. The 7 is playing a really big role in helping us identify these truths. We'll come back to that, okay? Carmen, usually change brings great opportunities I haven't considered before. Absolutely. And so what if we could redefine today or decide to redefine today our definition of change? What would a new definition of change be for you? You guys can start thinking about that as I finish reading these, and you can pop it in the chat below as well. Elaine says, when faced with immediate change, I've learned to take a deep breath, even fearfully, and just for what needs to be done in the moment. One step at a time. I've learned I'm stronger than I thought I was. Every one of you has a theme with this, that you've learned you're stronger than you thought you were. And I love that. Why? Because just because we think things doesn't mean it's true. If we remember back to our conversation on Monday, we talked about the meaning-making mechanism of the mind. Well, the mind will make meaning to everything, and it is not always in truth, and it is in truth. You get to discern. But if we've been operating that the mind is who we are, and that we're at the whim of whatever it thinks or however it does the operation, then we don't think we have a say. But we are the soul. We are the occupants of this body, and the mind is included. It's a mechanism, it's a computer, and it can be reprogrammed. It has been programmed, it has been conditioned, it has been full of expectation by society, by rules, by life, by parents. Doesn't mean those are actually the way when we're coming back into our sovereignty. So many times when we have a dream, let me see if I can do this backwards. If we have a dream and we see ourselves at the goal line and we're moving forward and we know we can get there because we've done it before, but we come up to resistance and we now don't know what will take us from here over here. It's like a gate to a bridge that we're looking for that's missing. What's missing is the soul connection. It's not the physical things. It's not just the mind. It's not just the information. It's the connection back to our soul self. And that doesn't have to mean anything as maybe you've experienced it with someone else. It just means coming back to connecting to that part that we've been ignoring for a really long time. That is where we understand we're a soul having a human experience, and that our humanness is going to forget. It's going to work in lack. It's going to work in scarcity. It's going to keep us safe from everything we told it that we don't want to feel again. And sometimes in this world, as we've grown, we're over here with the dream. We're over here with seeing ourselves at the end result. And yet everything we told us we didn't want to experience again are the beliefs and the decisions that we're relying on to get us into this new space. But they're not what's going to get us there, because they can only take us so far. And the minute you decided you wanted this new financial freedom, relationship, family, career, love for yourself, anything else that you've been doing up to that point no longer applies. That's why it rises up, because the mind starts screaming and saying, I automated this. You said you wanted this. I did great. I'm efficient. Don't mess with my efficiency. And we have to ease the mind, ease the body, create the safety, reassure the mind and the body that it's okay to move forward, and we're doing it anyway. But we must address what's going on between the two things so we can move forward. It's like, so it opens the gate, opens the key so you can go through. Like if you think of like why I was thinking of a video game, but you're trying to find the mystical key. Well, this is the key. And then it goes bring, and then you can walk through the gate and discover all the things that you have no idea because you've never been it before. And it's the safety and the relationship to change and the foundation that we're talking about in these 7 days that is the peace. So you can explore who you're going to become stepping into that version of you. That's the journey. That's the place you are. You've done the healing, you've done the exploration, you've done personal development. And you're like, well, why isn't all this working? Oh my gosh, I should be better now. I should be there now. I should be faster. I should be enough. But you've never been exactly where you are right now, heading exactly where you want to go next in this body. And so often we're trying to bypass this present moment for that exact one next step. And we're trying to get to the 1,000 steps because we can take it, we can survive it, and we've suffered through it before. So we forget to enjoy the journey. Okay, I feel like I got off tangent. So I love that one next step because we're going to tap into that today. We're going to actually dive into that. Melinda, I really need to sit still and quietly. Your topic is bringing awareness that major change is taking place right now in my life. With my husband's accident and being the main financial provider, now it's all come to a halt. Yeah. So you're faced with, oh crap, now what? And yet there's opportunity in that. And things will work out. You guys do know things always work out. Can you tell me a time when things didn't work out? Maybe not as you planned, maybe not with bells and roses on, but you made it to the next thing and the next thing, right? So it's really important to remember that now. But you've probably also, I'm guessing, because I know you, Melinda, have a desire to step into that next big thing for yourself. And this could be the thing that creates the gap in the financials, right? When you step into that dream. I've been wanting to become financially independent. Well, now is the time. Sorry, I didn't finish reading that. And so it's exactly what I described. But don't put the pressure on yourself as you're stepping forward in the dream, right? Because then you're never going to get to that. You're in 1,000 things of where you should be instead of right now where you are and what's next. And it can be very sexy and it can be very catapulting for us multitaskers and as caregivers to do all the things and just show me what to do and I'll do it. But you're being invited to be more of you and step into that and they will come. You love it, they'll love it, especially as entrepreneurs, right? Is this resonating? Is that everybody? I feel like I saw one of, hold please. Darla, I'm in a season of change as I only have one son left at home, an 18-year-old senior. The other 4 are adult. Okay, I'm pressing buttons. Did you finish that or did it cut off or am I not seeing it? I am. Why aren't you on this one? Hold, please. Why can't I see you here? That's weird. Okay, Darla, tell me more. Because for some reason, all I see is I am. But let's talk about 18-year-old, and because I can relate to that. I have one here in the home. She graduated in June. My other daughter's 25 and adulting, doing her thing, living on her own. And there is a lot of change that is going to rise up. It's the letting go process. It's the who am I going to be in the letting go of that. It's being okay with them not being little and also being okay with them being adult. But it's all stored in here. How you're feeling about that. What will happen to you? How will that impact you? What will change? And it is such an unknown. And so that's the invitation, is to land into the unknown and love yourself through all of it. And it's going to be okay, right? You want to see them grow. You don't want to hold on to them forever. I always think of my 18-year-old as her 3-year-old self, and that I'm losing that, but I'm not. I'm gaining the rest of her life, watching her blossom, right? So I feel you in that. It's not easy, but it does bring a lot of next steps up and curiosities and questions and fears. Melinda's an empty nester and can relate. Yeah. And Melinda, if you want to share, like I know you've been through that moment, and I'm only saying this. I'm not dismissing it. Hopefully, I don't feel like I'm dismissing it. I'm in it too. I feel like I've gotten to the acceptance of it, and so I'm going to talk about this cycle for a second. This awareness, this acceptance, this responsibility. That's usually in personal development where we know that circle to be true, and then we know so much and are aware so much we drive ourselves a little crazy and we're trying to take responsibility or we take too much responsibility. But there's more to that cycle. There's activation in what we want more and how we want to feel. There's momentum, there's transformation, and that completes the cycle. And so, where are you in that cycle of this new experience? Because I was in awareness for the good part of this year. I moved into acceptance, and I think I'm somewhere between acceptance and responsibility now, like what's going to be like. And you know what's been coming up? All of a sudden, when I start claiming my life, they need more. They want more time. There's a problem if I'm always working, or however they're interpreting it. But I've realized it's an opportunity for conversation and a recognition. And you're busy now too. You're at work, you're at school, you're never here. What am I supposed to be doing? Waiting on the sidelines until you need something? I have a life too. It's just a new opportunity for boundaries and conversation. So I don't know what your situation is with that, but maybe that's helpful. Um, yeah, who else's son is going to college? I love this, guys. Oh, Carmen. Yeah, right? So there's a lot of fear that's rising up that we wouldn't say is fear, but I mean, I'm afraid. I was. What's my relationship going to be like? Who am I now? Will we still love each other? Are the things going to, like, we've really been working in our relationship as well. And then what is the dynamic when one's home and one's not? And you're just, I don't know, my like all my filters just opened, all my senses just opened, and so and so needs this, and so needs this, and then so and so needs this, and I need a certain thing, and none of us were talking. And so communication has been a really big key, even muddling through it, to finding what works for all of us, that one way isn't the only way, and that there's multiple ways that we can come together. And for ourselves as moms, there are things we want and we're being afraid to claim them because that means letting go. Or we've made it mean something more. Or we've made it mean that if I do, then this happens. And truly, you get to be the creator of your life. You get to decide how much, when, who, all the things. And the safety, the nervous system is just wanting the reassurance that it's okay to move forward. So it doesn't feel okay. It feels like we're losing so much, right? Melinda says it seems sad in the moment, knowing that I've done the best I could raising my two kids and having great relationship with them, and they are two amazing people. It makes it easier to see them fly. Yes. Margot, I'm on the other side of it, the empty nester stage, and believe me, you will come through it. So here we have a community and togetherness and conversation, and now we can be real and vulnerable and say, okay, this is what's present. This is the story that goes with the story in my mind of what it means as they leave, now that they've graduated. Something is feeling like you're losing something. Let's focus today on what we're gaining. Let's celebrate this moment, this momentum. Let's look at the truth. Let's come back to the conversation of truth. And let's see where we just want to have a bit more trust in ourselves moving forward, and that all will be okay. But like we did on that white screen, you already have evidence that it's going to be okay. You already have evidence that you're going to be just fine. You have evidence that you have desires and goals and dreams. You have evidence that it's your time now. You have evidence that you may not know how, but just having that pull and heart and purpose in your expression helps you grow. You can't look at life the same way anymore. You've changed too much. Change has brought you here so you can discover more of you. And I always feel like it's that journey of soul self. There's more for you to learn about you. We're never done learning about us. In fact, we very little know about who we are. You can tell me the surface things, but the depth, the drivers, the values, everything underneath the iceberg that you can't see is what's being called to come into harmony in your relationship now. And when you hear that, intellectually, you might be, no, that's not it. It could be something else. But on the cellular level, can you feel that? I just want to make sure I'm getting all the comments. And so, can you let yourself be sad? Can you let yourself grieve that shift? Can you let yourself feel those feelings? Let yourself journal on those. Be with what is and notice that energy wants to move into more, right? And so we talk about choice today. We're in the choice point of, do we stay the same or do we step into the unknown? Do we choose again? And so we let ourselves feel, we face it. We're facing it right now. We're feeling it. Yeah, it makes me sad. And we let ourselves be sad until we're done being sad. We let ourselves grieve until we're done being in grief. We let ourselves be angry, be anything, frustrated, until we're ready and willing to shift it. And there's going to be a layer anywhere that you're willing to shift now. You don't want to feel that way anymore. Sometimes just knowing that you can feel it, your permission to feel it, also opens up new awareness and access to intuition and a deeper conversation in the truth of what you want next. How do you want to feel? What's been on your heart? So today is all about the purposeful expression. The fear, I wrote some really good things, so I'm going to look at my notes. The fear is asking for your attention right now. The sadness, the grief, it's really fear of abandonment, fear of belonging, fear of all the things. And perhaps it's repeating a pattern that you don't want to learn again. And so there's an opportunity today on this 5 energy, 5 of clubs day to accept the change, to rewrite the rest of the story. And it can begin today. Learning how to tune out the chaos, the stories, the way that it's been, or even the things in life when they feel a bit overwhelming, and broadcast the peaceful soul hiding within. So yesterday we tuned into the essence, the peaceful soul. We tuned into the part of you that's also available. You can be in chaos, you can be in sadness, and you can be in peace. The duality of it. I think so often we try to avoid the duality, and it's always going to be there, the shadow, the light, the fear, the love, the confusion, the clarity. All of it's a choice, and there's no right or wrong in what you're experiencing. But when it comes to your business or moving forward in your dream or your next steps, you've got to break the cycle somewhere. And if you don't want to, then stop worrying about it. Find something new that you do want to focus on. And I relate that to, like, maybe not so much this conversation, but like weight loss. We think we have to look a certain way. Either do something about it or let it go. You're wasting energy and brain power and love focusing on something that's really not important in the end. If you can love yourself as you are, there's a willingness to make different choices. So moving beyond the filter of an unhealed or an attached past to create space and courage for igniting what your next movement forward is. So today is all about focus, intention, and action. Inaction is also an action. Indecision is a decision. Today's empowerment is choose what you want to do and are willing to do moving forward in one of those areas of your life. So knowing that your inner sanctuary is the place where infinite possibility exists, this internal feeling, this infinite vastness that we came into in the body yesterday. You can start feeling it now. I can feel it resonating all around us. You can feel it flowing through you, as you, in your heart. That there's possibility everywhere. that the mind right now doesn't need to know anything. So let's invite it into the heart. Let's let it have a seat and let's work together. Let ourselves feel this resonant energy, this vastness, this possibility, this expansive opportunity without having to know what it is. Can you feel the excitement build in your heart of anything that you can create, anything that you want? Sometimes we confuse it for nervousness. They can feel very similar. But you feel your heart almost expanding in energy. And I would love for you in this moment to think about that dream that maybe you've been afraid, that truth that you've been pretending to not tell yourself in lieu of all of these events happening right now. What is that gift that you wish to give yourself? Is it stepping into your business? Is it more clients? Is it writing a book? Is it taking care of your health? What is that thing that's been on your heart that you've been putting off? I'll give you a second to type it in the chat. Let's see if I've missed any. So I remember that Melinda was saying she needs to sit still and quietly. Maybe it's as simple as making space for sitting still, right? Learning who you are in the stillness. Hi, Brooke. Thanks for being here. Okay. Anybody posting anything in the comments? So now I want you to feel into how that feels when you've imagine how it feels when you're there. Imagine you're there now. You've went through all the trials and errors. You've achieved your goal. You're there. How do you feel? Type in the comments how that feels to meet yourself in that space. Yeah, listening to your guides, your health, more clients, learning to be. How does that feel when you're there, Melinda? When you see yourself there, clients flowing, your health is on point. How do you desire to feel? What is that? To me, like there's my definition, bliss. There's a bliss that resonates through my body when I've done the thing, recognized I made it, right? Did the thing I didn't think I can do. Being still feels good. Give me a better description than good. Maybe tuning in to feel exciting, to feel illuminating. Carmen wants to work to be open to new opportunities. So let's pretend, let's visualize, let's use our imagination. You're open to opportunities now, Carmen. How does it feel to just watch them flowing in and then you get to choose? How does it feel? When we can tap into another feeling state, we can focus on that feeling state and call it into our heart space and hold the vision for ourselves. Hold the vision until we're there, right? So then we know what the next action is. We don't need 1,000, we just need one after the other. So we can look back at taking that next step and have more wisdom from the end result of that than the pre-decision the mind tries to tell us isn't worth doing. That's where we get bound up. Liberating, there we go. Yeah, what does liberation feel like in your body? Find liberation. Where is it? And then who says, Elaine, claiming my own personal power, making space for the truth or real inner me, moving forward with purpose and intention. Oh, purpose and determination. What does that feel like, Elaine? What's the one word when you're there? See how the brain wants to go like, mayday, 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 but let yourself play. You're just imagining. You don't have to have the answers. You don't have to figure it out. We're coming back to our play and our imagination, our adventurous spirit from our childhood, right? So good. Okay, so for today then, I don't even know where I am on my notes. Okay, what is the one You keep those comments coming too. What's the one important thing this week that you've been putting off that requires completing? Let's hold that space, that feeling for what we want, and then let's be honest and truthful with this physical in this world question. It could be anything, cleaning a closet, writing a paper. Like, tell me the thing, guys. The one that you're doing all the little things and avoiding the big job. What's the big job this week that's been on your mind that requires completing? Ooh, pride came in as a feeling. That's beautiful. That was actually one of my cards I pulled in I don't remember, the soul journey deck, as part of today's conversation. I pull 3 cards. I pull numerology and I pull 2 different oracle cards, and then I see what inspires me in the energy of the day. Like, it's this whole little mix. It may not even make sense, but it makes sense in my mind. That was one of the cards. It said pride, which I love that. Organizing your office. There we go. Who else? Who's playing? And if you're on replay, feel free to claim that or write it down. We're going to use that for homework. Calm and rejuvenating, the feeling I received. There you go. Calm and rejuvenating. You can build that business, have those clients, be in health, and feel calm and rejuvenating. That's a different direction you're pointing your brain in. Remember those staircases? We're like, ooh, calm and rejuvenating. And we set the intention. I intend to feel calm and rejuvenating today. As I'm doing this, I feel my pride as I'm doing this. I feel liberated as I'm taking these next steps, right? So as you have that one important thing this week that you've been putting off that requires completing, I have some copy to write. I have some things to put on landing pages so I can have them ready. It is the thing I've been avoiding. And it really won't take that much time, but I'll find 1,000 other things to do, then dive into that. It's that thing. Okay, so we've got Margot updating my Facebook page as per another course I'm taking. There's always something. Yeah, there's always going to be something else to do because you're always growing, right? You're always changing. So perfect. Whatever that is for you, are you willing to work on that today? This is where we feel the energy of choice, of action. Are you willing? Now your mind's going to already go, it's going to take me an hour. I don't know if I have time. I've got all these things going on today. Just invite the mind back in the heart right now. Right back in the heart. Are you willing to spend 10 minutes today working on that one important project this week? 10 minutes. That's it. I know you're going to want more, but 10 minutes. Are you willing to commit to 10 minutes today? I feel resistance towards completing this. I know. That's why we're doing it. I love you so much. Okay. Today has been the greatest therapy session. You're welcome, Carmen. Okay. Melinda says yes. I got one yes. And I'm assuming maybe some of you are like, maybe kind of, sort of, but let's take it further. So, Melinda, I need 10 minutes. And after that 10 minutes, you can do whatever you want. You can do another 10, you can do 2 hours. Are you willing to commit to 10 minutes today? What time? What time will you begin organizing your office? Set the timer for 10 minutes and get that task done. And I don't mean get it done in 10 minutes. Work for 10 minutes on that task. Give me a time today. And for all of you, I want you to pay attention to what your mind is doing as we're working forward. She said yes. Who said yes? Carmen, good. Okay, same thing. 10 minutes. What time? When we get off this call, we're going to be done in here in just a few minutes. 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 8:30 a.m. Beautiful. Okay, here's the example. Melinda says, yes, I'm going to organize my office for 10 minutes beginning at 8:30 a.m. I'm going to set my timer on my phone. I'm going to play music. I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to make it the most amazing experience ever. And then I'm going to report back to Michelle and tell her at 8:40 how it felt and how much I got done in 10 minutes. Are you willing to do that? For all of you, my phone can ping all day. I don't care. Are you willing? Yes. Okay, cool. So we have commitment. So now we've made a new choice. We know we're willing. We've made a commitment. We've broken it down in a digestible chunk, and we can be in action. instead of swirling in all the inaction that we tell ourselves all the time. This is how we get things done. And then we check back in. What's the next step? Do I have more time? Cool. Break it in small chunks. Small chunks will take you further than big chunks. The 2 hours, something's always going to come up, or you'll dread the 2 hours. Let's train the mind. Let's make a new stairway in the mind and say, I can do 10 minutes. I can do 10 minutes and I can make it a game, and I probably can get half of my office done. I mean, you don't know, but you know how that goes. You guys ever getting that? Like, I'm going to get this much done. See what you can do. Let's just see. So as you're in action today, finding peace and harmony with taking action, we make it digestible, we make a commitment. And now Melinda and whoever else is committing, will you put it on your calendar? Will you put it right now on your phone on your calendar? So it's as important as your son's appointment, your husband's this, your grocery list, whatever. Are you willing to claim it? And understand this energy is way different than thinking about it. And we get tripped up in the thinking and the overthinking about it. And when we can come back to finding the peace in that I can do this today, I can do it. I can do it, and I've done it before. You have of course you do. You have a fun timer with that and music. Yes. And then have the accountability. Honestly, check back in. I want to hear from you in your words. Check back in here. Type it in here. I'm checking this all day long. Tell me the experience after 10 minutes and how you feel. What is the feeling that you feel after 10 minutes? And is it different than pre-deciding it's not for you? That's the only thing you can discover in the unknown that your brain can't tell you. That is why you've always survived the things you didn't think you survived. That is why you could do the hard things you didn't think you could do. The brain has no way of knowing when you're trusting in the unknown. The body does. It helps you get there. And when they work together, you create new evidence. So this week forward now, as we move into our future finishing of 7 days together, we are trusting in the unknown, and we are being in action, and we're looking at it in a whole new light. So let me know below how this landed for you today, what you're inspired to do. Claim your time, claim your space, claim your accountability, and I will check in on you. I will check back on you. And if you would like, as a bonus, DM me when you're done and tell me these things, right? All right, you guys, I'll see you again tomorrow for another beautiful day, looking at our blessings and how we receive. It's going to be a good one. Have a beautiful rest of your day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.